Good morning, everyone. It's Karen Whooley, and I'm so excited that you are here for today's Live Wednesday. If you're watching after the fact, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit the thumbs up button as well as the bell. If you click the bell, you'll be notified when I go live and when I am uploading new videos. So make sure you've done that if you haven't done it already. And before we get started, I just want to head over to the chat and see who's all here. First of all, we see that Linda's here. Good morning, Linda and Daisy. I'm glad you're here, and thank you for reminding everybody to smash that button. By pressing the thumbs up button, that helps with the algorithms. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys did that, if you haven't done it already. I also see that Stephanie is here. Good morning, Stephanie. Good to see you. For those of you who are in different time zones, it is 9 a.m. Pacific time. So that's why she has the / afternoon here, because there are a few people who do show up that are Eastern time zone or even earlier. So good morning. And good morning, Renee. It's good to see you here as well. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm sure a few more people will pop in now that I'm live. I'm having a busy week. It's been kind of a crazy week. I had a pattern launch that I'll talk about here in just a second. And I went to see my grandson or my daughter and son-in-law and grandson, but grandson always seems to come first lately, on Saturday. And we had a really good time there. I brought some of the clothes that I kept when the kids were little. From when the kids were little, my kids were little. And so I passed them on to him, some of the clothes from my son. And my grandson will be baptized next month. So I brought the christening outfits that my kids wore. So if my daughter's going to try them on and see if he fits in any of them and if she wants to use any of them. So I'm kind of excited about that. But other than that, I've been working on trying to finalize a bunch of patterns and stuff. And I've been kind of offline a lot today. So if you guys have been trying to get a hold of me for any period of time, I apologize if it's taking me a little bit. I do have a few questions in my inbox that I have not gotten a chance to get to. But for those of you who are part of my testing crew, I want to let you guys know that I will be adding a new test. I'm probably going to announce it next week. But if you are watching this and you are part of my testing crew, even after the fact, after this video is over, make sure you check the Volley app, because all communication is going to go through Volley. I am going to send out an email just to remind everyone about Volley. And remind everybody that there is a link there, or there is I can't talk this morning. I'm sorry, guys. That I have a link that will get you set up if you're not already set up. But I think pretty much everybody who is a tester has been set up. So just so you guys know. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the giveaway this week. I mentioned I released a pattern, and that pattern is All Hallows Eve. I'm sorry, covering my face here. All Hallows Eve, this pattern, it's an 8-page pattern. It's completely done in color. It's got charts and text, and it's stapled. So the pattern actually was designed for the Forbidden Fibers Co.'s Halloween kit in 2021. And I told her I would not release it for a year, so that this is the year. She actually shipped the boxes last September. So this is now available on my website. It's $8 for the pattern, but today I am giving it away for free. And I wanted to show you the original. It's been sitting in a box, so the top needs to be blocked a little bit again. But this is the original. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is the original. It was done with her Halloween mini kit, had 13 colors, and I organized them in such a way so that they went from light to darkest. And it turned out absolutely fabulous, I think. I really like it. It seems like when I've posted it on social media, everybody's liked it. So I really hope you guys like it. But I am giving it away. I'm going to fold this so that it's not in my way right now. So in order to win a free copy of the pattern, thank you, Stephanie. I just saw your note. It is really colorful, and it's perfect for any mini skein set. You need a total of 1,534 yards to make it the size I did. It had, like I said, it had 13 hanks in it, and each hank was 118 yards or 107.9 meters if you're in the metric system. You could use any minis as long as you had the right yardage to make this work. And you could change colors any place you wanted to. I tried to use as much of each hank as I possibly could when I did this. So that's why it's so big. That's why I use so much yardage. I tend to like larger shawls because for me, I want to wear them as a shawl. I like to have a little more of the wingspan down here in front. And here I could put a shawl pin real easily, or I could, flip this up and put a shawl pin up here, that kind of thing. So I like a little more wingspan on my shawls. The kit, there was enough yarn, yes, but the kit's no longer available. This was for 2021. I saw your note there, Linda. This was last year's Halloween kit. I did do her Halloween kit again this year, and I did let you guys know about that one earlier this year. That one is no longer available either, and that pattern will be released next year. But whenever I do a kit for a company, I use the yarn that they provide in the kit. So no matter what, that kit always has enough yarn. I can tell you that if you go to forbiddenfiberco.com, she does have a Star Wars kit that's being released around Christmas time, and I believe it's only going to be up for another week or two, and I did the crochet pattern for that. So if you're interested in another kit, she's still got it up. It's called the Resistance. And yes, according to that, the yarn that is in that kit is enough yarn to make the project. That is the way kits work. So that's super important to know. Hi, Charlene. I just saw you here. Good morning. Good to see you. Okay, so to win a copy of the pattern, I am going to have you type into the chat box. And the only person I should mention who is not available, so Liz, if you're here, I don't know if Liz is here to watch, is Liz BCCWS. She's the one last week, so she is not available. But to win this week, you type in #pumpkin. I am a person who likes, I am a person who likes the fun side of Halloween, not the scary side of Halloween. So I will always do things that are named and not the scary side. So make sure you type #pumpkin. Renee just asked if you could if you wanted to, if you had enough yardage, and as long as it's fingering weight, it'll turn out the same size as mine. So yes, you could use sheep cheese if you needed to. I see that a lot of pumpkins are coming in. So make sure that you do that. I'm going to take that off the screen for now. And let's see. Okay, so today's topic, as I mentioned before, is anything goes. And the reason anything goes, first of all, for you guys to ask me any questions about crochet or anything I'm doing or anything like that, but also for me to just kind of talk about what's been going on around the studio and things like that. I'm not doing so much of a show and tell and a behind the scenes, but I'm going to talk about a few things that are happening and ask some questions of you guys about some things that are happening around here. So I'm hoping that you guys will, participate in the conversation and ask me questions too. Doesn't have to be on the topic that I'm talking about. If I'm talking about, a project I'm working on, it doesn't have to be about that project. It can be about something else totally, something that you're working on or any of that. So that is today's topic. So before we get into that, well, part of that topic is I am going to talk about what's new in the studio. I was hoping to have a little bit more, but some of them aren't coming till Friday, so I'll have them next week. So the only thing that's new in the studio is I got these cute, darling, absolutely darling. Well, I should probably preface this with, if you know me well, you know that I'm a huge classic Winnie the Pooh fan. A.A. Milne, all the drawings from the classic books. My kids' nursery when they were born was all classic Pooh. Even though classic Pooh is really hard to find these days, classic Pooh will always be my favorite. But I did get these new stitch markers that are more of the more modern Pooh, you know, the Disney Pooh. So here's Winnie the Pooh. And then here's Tigger. And here is Piglet. I don't know if you guys can see those really well, but there's Piglet. And then there's Eeyore. So there's four markers. Aren't they cute? When I saw these, I had to get them just because I haven't had anything Winnie the Pooh in so long. Winnie the Pooh is my favorite. So I got these from Molly Klein Designs, and I've shown you her yarn before, but she also has stitch markers. The yarn I showed you, in fact, I'm going to start working on this. Her yarn is Sweet Tea Yarns. She's on Etsy. She hand dyes yarn, and she has a whole bunch of other stuff. This is going to be wound up next for my next project, so I'm really excited to start working with her yarn. So if you're interested in her products, go ahead and check out her Etsy website. I just saw a couple comments here. Linda loves Beatrix Potter. I've had Peter Rabbit and Friends. That's so cute. I love, Peter Rabbit's another favorite, but absolutely hands down, A.A. Milne and Winnie the Pooh are my favorite. I'm going to take this off the screen here for a second. Hi, Judy. I'm so glad you're here. Now, you guys, if you haven't seen it already, I know I posted it on all my social media channels. Judy did a little feature on me on her YouTube podcast last week. So make sure you check out Judy's Creations and Crochet and go watch her video with the beginning part is all about me and how I learned to crochet and that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that. So make sure you do that if you haven't already. Oh, I see that Linda retyped. I guess I'm just a big kid. All of us are just big kids, Linda. That's why I still love Pooh. In fact, you can't see it right now, but up on these shelves that you see right here, on the very top shelf, there's a shelf above what you see. There is a Winnie the Pooh and Piglet hugging each other that my husband gave me years ago. That I think it was when I either had one of my sinus surgeries or something. I don't know when he gave it to me, but it's always with me in my office. So we're all big kids. Good morning, Sharon. That's okay being late. I'm so glad you're here. I will talk about the giveaway here in just a minute. So I'll talk about that before I get started with a whole bunch of other stuff. So hang on. She said, I just took pictures of those wraps. I will send yes, cool. I would love to have some pictures to share with people of your projects. That would be awesome. Thank you. And that's goes for anybody. If you've made any of my patterns, send me photos. I love to have them either on if they're a wrap on a body, whether it's a dressmaker dummy body or on an actual person. I prefer actual people, but make sure you send me pictures because I do want to start sharing them again. I have a few that I want to share, but they're for patterns that haven't been released yet. So I need to wait, but definitely send me pictures. I really, 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 really would like to get those started. Okay. Renee said, I watched Judy's. Yep, she did. Good. I'm glad you subscribed to her channel. And if you guys definitely go subscribe to her channel as well. Let's see. I used to love the cute little bear and the old Snuggle fabric softener commercials. And my mom gave me one for Christmas one year. Yep. I'm actually, Winnie the Pooh is absolutely my favorite. But my kids know from when they were little, from the time they were little, bears are basically I mean, I have so many stuffed bears that when my Dave and I got married, I had to go through them all and give away some. I kept some for the kids, and the kids each have one of my childhood bears. But I actually have bears in my stash closet that I need to find a spot for that my mom and dad gave me when I was young. One of them, I'll never forget. I was at Macy's with my mom one time and I saw this bear. It was so expensive. I don't know. Back then it was probably like $20. But my mom kept saying it was so expensive. Karen, you can't have that bear. And then that Christmas, I got that bear. So, stuff like that. I mean, that's my husband when we were dating would give me bears. I still have a bear from the very first bear he ever gave me. And I'm looking for a spot for that. So bears are amazing. And even going to the zoo, the first place we always have to go when we were in Seattle to the Seattle Zoo is to go see the bears, the brown bears, because I just absolutely adore the bears. They are just, I don't know what it is about bears, but I love bears. Let's see. Good children's literature appeals to all ages. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Okay, so I promised people that I would mention what I'm giving away. Today I'm giving away a copy of the new pattern I just released, All Hallows Eve. I have the original right here. Just gonna pull that up again for all the new people who popped in. Oops. Here's the original. It's made with 13 mini skeins. 13 mini skeins. You could use a gradient for this. You need a little over 1,500 yards. This was originally designed in 2021 for the 2021 Forbidden Fiber Halloween kit. The kit is no longer available, so if you're going to buy the pattern, you have to find the yarn to go with it. Any yarn you want. These colors are no longer available. I'm giving it away. If you are interested in winning, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. You are going to type in #pumpkin. So make sure you type in #pumpkin and you will be entered to win. The only person, I don't think she's here. If she is, she hasn't popped in, but it's Liz from BCCWS. She won last week, so she's not eligible this week. But everybody else is who hasn't already purchased the pattern or didn't buy the kit at the time. So I'm going to pop that in there yesterday. And I just saw Judy posted that you just bought it yesterday. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I try to give away patterns the same week that they are released. It doesn't always happen that way, but I usually try. So this happens to be a week. And next week, I can tell you I'm releasing another pattern next week that I'll be giving away on the channel next week, as long as I have a live. So just so you guys know. And so far, so good. Everything looks great as far as me being in town. Okay, so I showed you what's new, which are those stitch markers. I am working on a couple things. The first thing I want to show you is I have one of 2 socks done. I haven't started the second one yet. I finished this a couple weeks ago, thinking that I wasn't going to show you guys until I finished both socks, but I just haven't had time to cast on. This is a knit pattern. It's from Summer Lee Designs. Summer, like the season, Lee Designs. I don't have her link right now. She's got an Etsy site as well. And this is called her Daily Socks. And it's kind of cool because it's got these little, I don't know if you guys can see it really well, but there's like ribs that go sideways in the sock at the whole cuff, and then the top of the foot. Let me see if I can open this up and see if it might be this. You can kind of see there's a pattern that goes this way. And those are all slip stitches. So if you're a knitter and know what slip stitches are, that's what creates that nice little texture. I really like the sock. Her pattern uses a heel flap and gusset sort of construction for the heel. I like the afterthought heels because they fit me better. So that's the only thing I changed about the pattern was I changed this to an afterthought heel so it fits my foot better. And it's more that it fits my foot better because of the texture. I can wear a regular heel flap and gusset sock, whether it's crochet or knit, if it's just a standard stitch like stockinette in knit or just, extended single crochets in crochet. But when it starts to texture, for some reason, that's just not comfortable for me. So I always switch to an afterthought heel on both crochet and knit socks. So I just thought I'd share that. This is actually, the blue yarn is actually a leftover hank I had of Knitting Fever's yarn, and I'm trying to remember the name of the yarn. It's Hawasco kettle dyed sock. That's what it is. It's the Hawasco. Araucana is the brand. This is a Knitting Fever. Yeah, it's Knitting Fever Araucana Hawasco sock, and this is their kettle dyed. And then the purplish or burgundy color is left over from socks I made for my son a couple of years ago. I try to keep the leftovers of sock yarns for, the little ones especially if I make socks, so that if I need to darn a sock, I can darn with the same color that I used originally. But I also like to use it for leftovers to make her pattern had the different color top at the cuff and the toe, and her heel, even though her heel was done in the same color as the main sock, because I did an afterthought, I changed it to, that's the other thing I did change, is I changed it so that the heel matched the toe and the top of the cuff. So I've got to cast on the second one. And then I'm working on another baby hat. For those of you who know me and this is another knit project, and I was just dropped some stitches. I noticed I picked them up fine. This baby hat done in Cascade fixation. This is just a project to carry around with me. This one's actually going to be for my grandson, because my daughter saw the colors I was working on for charity, and my grandson, she liked it for my grandson, so I'm making that for my grandson. And then I just need to tell you guys, the other thing I did this weekend when I saw my grandson is I brought the costume with him, for him. And he has grown so much. I can't even tell you guys how much he has grown. This hat does not fit him, and these bottoms don't fit him. So I have to the pattern only went to a 3-month, and I need to figure out what I need to do to make it a 6-month and a bigger head. He's got a 20-inch circumference head now, and this hat is not a 20-inch circumference. I think this is like a 15 or a 16. So we went to go put it on, and it wouldn't even go past like this part of his head. So I have to redo this. I'm gonna try to keep the ears and just make the hat bigger. I'm gonna have to see how well that turns out, but I have more than enough yarn to make both of these. So you'll be seeing me working on those again. I'll probably start working on those this weekend. I have been working on the new free pattern. I showed it to you a couple weeks ago. It was in the polka dot sheep yarn. This is all that was left of those 2 hanks of yarn. It looks like there's more purple than there actually is, because there's a piece of paper inside when I rolled the ball up, but this is it. I mean, this one's probably about 20 yards, and maybe this is probably more like, actually, I don't think it's 20 yards. It's probably more like 5 yards of the Aurora, and maybe 15 of the purple. Maybe it's a little bit more purple than there is of the Aurora. I would show you the finished piece, but it's on the blogging board right now, drying. So hopefully I'll have that for you next week if I don't get it out to the photographer before then. And And I just saw Martha popped in. Good morning. No worries being late. I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you caught me live. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, so that I've been working on. And I also am finishing up. I'm going to be doing some video today, hopefully, as long as the lighting works with me. Right now, it's looking a little overcast, even though I have extra lighting for my table when I'm doing video. Sometimes the lighting is just wrong and it makes it hard to do a video, but I'm going to do a video on this project on how to seam it. I've been putting it off because I think I told you last week I've been putting out a lot of personal fires and our different things that I've had to deal with that got put off when I had to work with my daughter. So that's the plan for today, is to get that finished. And then once I get that finished, for those of you who are interested in testing patterns or have been on my pattern testing crew, I will start next week posting pattern testing stuff. So if you haven't already, make sure you're on Volley. For those of you, I kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but also get on Volley, and I'm going to be posting a video probably either this afternoon or tomorrow about how Volley works and how I'm going to start working with Volley doing pattern testing. So bear with me on that, but that's kind of what I'm working on right now. And then I've also started working on my new book as well, but I'm not showing you any of that just quite yet because I'm still working out some kinks that I need to work out before I can talk about my new book. Okay, so anybody have anything they want to ask me while I'm pulling out a couple other things here that I want to talk about? Anybody have a question for me? If you do, make sure you type a Q, a space, and then ask your question in chat, and I'll scoop them up as I see them. But you can always post in chat. I know a lot of people here have been, posting things as they have been. But definitely, if you have a question, you can ask anytime. But I wanted to have a couple things I just want to go over. This I found. Remember, I've been saying I have a sheet of all the questions you guys have. Well, if you're a brand new subscriber to my newsletter, you probably have seen this. I have, as you go through the onboarding for my newsletter, one of the newsletter asks questions, and this is a printout. I've got everything through, I think, the end of May. Yeah. Through the end of May of questions that were here. I have to print out everything from June on. And I also have in March, I believe, or January, maybe it was February. Yeah, it was the January newsletter. I actually had a questionnaire that was very similar to what I'm asking on the onboarding. And so that's how I get my topics for these live streams usually. And this week has been so crazy. I didn't have time to pick one, but I thought that I'd go through some of these and see what you guys are interested in, because those of you who are here are pretty much here every week. And I just kind of want to get a feel for things that you would be interested in. So if you are interested in any of these, tell me what they are. So the first one here says, I want to learn how to felt, which I did a felting class earlier this year, and I still have not released that pattern, but I may deal with that pattern later this year. And then turn to Tunisian. And we talked about Tunisian last week a little, so I probably wouldn't do that. But if you guys are interested in felting, let me know. And then there's one that says, learning new stitches and keeping the count correctly, especially with lace. I love lace, but have trouble keeping it to the right sequence, if that makes sense. So basically what she's saying is with lace, because there's always, skipping things involved. Sometimes at the end of the row, you're short stitches, or you have too many stitches, depending. So is anybody interested in that kind of stuff? Working with lace and how to keep the counts even, things like that. I know somebody said and I think I talked about this before about keeping the tops of your stitches looking better when you have the taller stitches. I know I've talked about that, but if anybody would like a video on that, I mean, just jump in. Even if you don't have to wait until I've gone through all of these. Just say, hey, I'd like to know about this. So keeping the tops of the stitches, would you like me to do a static video on that? Because I know I've talked about it here, about how to adjust your hook and your yarn so that your stitches aren't sloppy on the top or too loose on the top or too tight, because I've seen them too tight as well. There's a couple people who have asked me for information about color work. So I'm planning to teach my color work class next year as a Zoom class. So if you're interested in that, let me know also. And Renee, I know this is yours. You were at the time you were struggling with the ability to crochet garments. Were you still interested in me doing a class on garments? Anybody, but not just Renee, but everybody who's here. Are you interested in me doing a class on garments? I already have a pre-done class that are top-down cardigans or top-down pullovers. But if you'd like me to expand on those, let me know. And that's another one, sweaters and cardigans. Pattern reading we talked about. Reading charts. Are you interested on reading charts? Crocheting in the round. Anybody have issues with crocheting in the round? I'm trying to go through the ones that I haven't already talked about. I've talked about hooks. What about bullion stitches? Those are not something I use very often. I haven't probably in years and years used bullions in any of my designs because it's not one of my favorite stitches. And the primary person that I would send people to was Bonnie Pierce, and Bonnie passed away a couple years ago. I think it's now 2 years, maybe 3 years. Might even be longer now. It's been the pandemic has put this big black hole in my sense of time, so I can't read. I know it was pre-pandemic, so maybe it's more like 5 years ago. But is anybody interested in those type of things like bullions? That's something. Somebody else talks about that they have arthritis in their hands and stitch quality is hard. I think I've done blog posts on that, so I can refer that person to those blog posts. Modifying patterns to make things fit correctly. Okay, I'm already seeing people popping in here with stuff. Okay, so Linda said she loves working with lace. More info, the better. Okay. Renee, I'm thinking that's on garments. Yes, definitely. You'd like to see me teach class on garments. Linda says, yes, garments. Yes, crocheting in the round and would be cool with learning bullion stitches. Renee says, also interested in converting your lace designs from your shawls to edgings for pillowcases. That is a very specialized, Renee. And what you would have to know is the stitch multiples for that. And you can easily find stitch multiples for my lace designs just by looking at my chart, because most of my charts will say this is the stitch repeat and this is the row repeat. And all you need to know is, and you can usually count and figure that out and see if there's an extra stitch anywhere. And because you're working in a row, you're always going to have the same multiple. So that was where I would definitely convert lace designs to for my shawls into edgings for pillowcases. It's the same as if you were using a stitch dictionary to edge a pillowcase. It's the same idea. It's just taking what I've used in a pattern and putting it on a pillowcase. Sharon says she hates doing bullions. I've done it with split straw, but rather not do it. That's kind of where I am with bullions. I would like to practice working on them so that if someone asks me how to do them, I can teach them how. And I can teach them how. I mean, I know how to do a bullion. I just can't get the beautiful bullions that Bonnie Pierce used to do. She was a Bonnie Pierce. If you have time after or anytime, Google Bonnie Pierce, Pierce is her last name. She has several books with Annie's, and I think she did a couple for Leisure Arts too on bullions, but her primary crochet using bullions was in freeform crochet. She was a big freeformer. She had some beautiful coats that she used to wear to events, and shawls and bags that she would make in freeform. And she used bullions in just about everything. So, and I know Annie's had a bullion book that she did. I know for sure Annie's did. I don't know if it's still available as a digital book or not, but check her out. She is definitely somebody to talk to when it comes to bullions, or look at. You can't talk to her anymore. I'm sorry. But she did beautiful bullion work. Charlene says, every week you are live, maybe do a quick tip, something like how to do a yarn join, tie a knot. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so like maybe do a quick tip on how to join yarn, or how to a new yarn, or change colors, or do the brush and join or the magic knot, that kind of things. Is that what you're talking about, Charlene? I'm pretty sure that's how I understand it anyway. And Stephanie says garments, different edgings for flannel blankets. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys, for edgings on blankets and on pillowcases. Couldn't think of the word. I lost the word. I would highly recommend. Hang on, let me get my. I think these are all. I would go to Leisure Arts and Annie's and just buy edgings. Stitch dictionaries for edgings. I have all of these edging books. Oh, that's a cable book. Never mind. That was on the wrong spot. Treasury of Edgings and 101 crocheted edgings. These are the books that are going to get you edgings on flannel blankets and on pillowcases. So literally, that's what you're going to want to do. And any Stitch dictionary on edging is going to do that for you. Let me put these back, guys. Because if I don't do it now, my desk is going to be a pain later. So definitely, that's going to be my first recommendation. I mean, I don't mind teaching the edgings, like I could go through a Stitch dictionary and do a video on how to create this edging. Renee has already got me thinking about teaching a class on how to actually attach edgings to a pillowcase. And it's the same idea for flannel blankets. You could do both, or one or the other, for a class like that. In fact, I might have different options for different things and show you different stitches that I would use for different things like that. But and that's actually, Renee, so just so you know, that is a class that is in the works right now. I've already got an outline for that, and I could easily add flannel blankets as well. My daughter actually wants me to do a couple flannel blankets with edgings on them for my grandson. So I can easily do that for something like that. Charlene says yes. Okay, so that means that the tip at the end. Okay, I could do that. I'd have to put together a list. That might be something that I could start in January, because right now I'm trying to finish up everything that I need to finish up for the end of the year. So adding something to my lives right at this second is going to be kind of hard, but I can, if I think about it, I can do that. Also, Deborah, good morning. You would like to have a class for blanket edges? Awesome. Okay. Awesome. I can do that. Definitely do that. I'm so glad you're here, Deborah. It's good to see you. Okay. And Renee's going to look for that class. Okay. Here's a couple other things that people are asking for. Okay. There's another sweater. Okay. So here's one that I would love for you guys to answer for me. What type of projects? This is a person who's a knitter who also crochets. And she said, when she's short on time, she leans toward knitting as the easier for me. So I never really get anywhere with crocheting. More things like that would be helpful for people like me. So guys, knowing that I am focused in on fingering weight yarn and lace weight yarns. What kind of projects and classes can I offer for someone who's a knitter that wants to do more things in crochet? Remember, nothing, I mean, DK, it's probably the heaviest. I mean, there will be a couple things I'll be doing in worsted weight yarn, but remember, my focus is fingering and lace weight. And I know for a fact with this person, hers is fingering and lace weight as well. What kinds of things would you like? Would you think? I have lots of sock yarn hats. I do. Every hat pattern that you see on my website is done with sock yarn, with the exception of old blue jeans, but that could be done in sock yarn. Cadence is done in DK. That also could be done in sock yarn. So those are sock yarn hats. If you have my book, let's see, I have in Coastal Crochet, I have a fingering weight hat, and in Modern Italian Lace Crochet, I have a fingering weight hat as well. So both of those are fingering weight or sock weight, sock yarn hats. So if you're looking for stuff like that. Anybody else? Can you think of a project that I could show a knitter that a stockhead hat? I love that pattern. I make those for my son. In fact, I have another yarn that is a sockhead hat for my son. So I have to go. I don't know if I've even gotten that yarn yet. I ordered it. That I have to look and see. Okay, so here's one that goes with Charlene saying tips. So changing colors. I can definitely do that. I've talked about this before, matching yarn types to projects. So do you guys think that a full-blown class on that would be a good thing? Or do you think there's something else? Or should I just do a shorter format? I'm definitely going to do a seaming videos for my YouTube channel. So, so there is that. Deborah says, did you recommend smaller needles? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Deborah, for smaller needles. Are you talking about for my sock hats? My sock hats, sock yarn hats are always done in either an E or an F or G, depending. Well, if I'm using DK, it's going to be an F or a G hook, which you can also use with sock yarn. So if that's what you're asking. Okay. So, but usually I think the one in Coastal Crochet is an E. I don't have the books here in front of me where I can grab them really quick. So I have to think about that. Modern Italian Lace, I do know, is a size E hook. But I can't remember for sure on the Coastal Crochet one. But the ones that are individual patterns on my site, they are, I think all three of them are either, well, my favorite hat I know for sure is DK, and I used a little bit bigger hook because of the stitch I used. But you could still do it in fingering with a little bit bigger hook. That would be, yes. We have so yes, sockhead hat is knitting. Yes, I did not recommend smaller needles. I used exactly what she recommended, if that's what you're talking about with the needles. Yes, I did use my gauge for that hat. For some reason, always works out to what her gauge was with the smaller, with whatever needles she used for the to make the hat itself in sock weight yarn. So I didn't have to change anything, and it fit my son perfectly. In fact, I don't know if I have a picture. I can't remember. I know I posted it on my Instagram. If you're on Instagram, go scroll like maybe I made it when we were still living on the other side of the state. So it would have been 2017, 2018, 2019, in that range. He was in college, so he graduated in 2019. I'm thinking it was 2018, 2019 when I made it, and I have all the details about it there. Oh, a seaming video would be great. You never like the look. Okay, I will definitely do a seaming video. Yeah, that's something on the plan for next year for sure. We have a stock class starting my grandmother's sock pattern. Are you talking about knitting? Yes. I know that a lot of you have asked for a beginner's knit sock class. Now, you guys, I am focused on crochet. You guys know that. And one of the things I have noticed with the survey, for those of you who are on my newsletter, I did a survey. If you haven't filled it out, you still have until the end of next week. The 30th is the last day you can fill it out to win one of 5 prizes that I'm going to be giving away the first part of October. So make sure you fill it out. But the thing is that what I am noticing with some of the things that in the optional questions, people are asking me to teach on things like punch needle and weaving and spinning. Those are not things that I'm going to teach. I may throw in a knit pattern once in a while, I may do a crocheters learn to knit class kind of thing, but I'm not going to teach knitting in general. There are other people out there that do knitting far better than I, with the exception of my grandmother's sock pattern. So if you're a knitter or a wannabe sock knitter and want to learn that class is coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it is on the list to be done, just so you guys know. But other than that, knitting, I'm leaving knitting to other people. I'm leaving punch needle to people who actually do that. I've only done punch needle once. Not a thing I'm really excited about. I don't weave. I used to weave. I shouldn't say I don't weave. I used to weave when I was a child. Don't weave anymore. Not going to teach weaving. I am a spinner, but I am not going to teach spinning because there are far better people than I to teach those classes. So remember, I am a crocheter. That is what my business is. It is focused on crochet with a few little pieces of knitting like my grandmother's knitted socks. Okay, just so you guys know what's going on with that. A lot of people seem to think that I am going to be one of those bloggers out there who starts with crochet and then moves to dyeing and moves to this. I may talk about me doing these things, like I showed you my knitted socks and my knitted hat. I show you some of the things that I do for myself and my daughter and my son, but I am not going to teach that stuff only because there's so many other people out there that are far better at it than I am. Okay. We talked about seaming neatly, figuring out sizes of projects like lap robes, Afghans, how much yarn to purchase, etc. Would you guys like a class? This is something I have been thinking about. I'm trying to figure out how to put a class together like this, but would you guys be interested in, okay, so I see this blanket out there that I want to make, or I see this shawl out there, or this sweater out there that I want to make, but the yarn I want to use for it, I can't get gauge no matter what I do. I could have exactly the same yarn that they used for the pattern. It could be a Red Heart or Lion Brand yarn, or it could be, a brand off the shelf in a local yarn shop. You have the exact same yarn, cannot get gauge. I've got worsted weight, but it's not the one that the designer used, and I cannot get gauge. What do I do to make the project fit or be the right size? So for example, I have, I'm trying to think of something like with a sweater. Okay. The gauge says something like, there's 12 double crochets to 1 inch, but I'm getting 15 crochets. I'm not 1 inch, 4 inches, but I'm getting 15 instead of 12. So I have 4 extra stitches. How do I make this pattern work for me if I cannot get gauge no matter what I do? Would that be a class you guys would be interested in? I'm going to grab some coffee here really quick. Anybody? Question? While you're thinking about that, for those of you who popped in late, at the end of the show, I'm giving away a copy of All Hallows Eve. It'll be a digital copy. It's an 8-page pattern just released yesterday. Here is the original shawl. It's made with 13 mini skeins from a Halloween kit from 2021. So the colors that you see in this shawl are not available any longer. However, you can use as whatever mini skeins you want. You can use a gradient yarn, whatever it is you need. It's fingering weight, and it's a little over 1,500 yards. I think it's like 1,534 is what I said earlier. If you are interested in winning this at the end of the show, in the chat, I'm going to put that on screen. You're going to type in #pumpkin. And if Liz from BCCWS is here, she's the only one that's not eligible to win. Or if you've purchased the pattern already, I apologize. You're not eligible to win either. But definitely put that in chat if you're interested in winning. Okay, so you guys are saying yes, definitely you would like me to do a class on what happens, how to fix something when you can't get gauge. Okay. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Are you a new watcher? I don't know that I recognize your name, but you could have been here before, and it's been a long summer for me. So I apologize if I'm not recognizing that you've been here before. Martha says, yes, I always have a problem with getting gauge. Okay. And I see a couple pumpkins coming through. Oh, awesome. Okay. People here who know each other. So Judy, Debbie, are you a follower of Judy's? I see that that you and Judy are saying hi to each other. So you must be a follower of Judy's. And thank you for coming and popping in. So anyway, okay, so you guys would definitely like something about gauge, okay, and how to deal with gauge and something. Okay, let me put a circle on that one. Okay. How about the class on, here's one that people always ask me. Nuances in patterns that sometimes throw her for a loop in this case. Things like through the front loop, through the back loop, there's a difference, but I don't understand why there is a difference. Is that something you guys are interested in? Oh, Debbie, lurking is great. I'm glad you're here. But I'd love to have you participate too if you have any questions or comments, for sure. Love Judy's challenge. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. In fact, I told everybody if they haven't seen it to go see it. So I've been posting it on social media, and I have it in my next newsletter as well, coming up on October 4th. It'll be in my newsletter to go look at it with the link. So if you guys are interested in something about, why you put your hook where for certain things, like why would you use a back loop? Why would you use a front loop? That kind of thing, let me know. Pattern reading is a big one. I keep seeing that. Okay, a lot of people are asking for learning new stitches or techniques on items I can use. So do you guys like video on, if I had a stitch that I really like to use, like maybe like that lace pattern that's in the shawl pattern. It's one of my favorite stitches. If I did a video on just how to make that stitch, do you like that kind of thing? Or if I got a stitch dictionary, found a really cool, interesting stitch and taught you guys how to make it, would you guys like stuff like that? Let me know if that would be something. Here's a lot of, how about cables? Anybody want a class on cables? Let me know. It seems like everything else here so far has been the same as what I've already saying. Weaving in ends is one. Oh, how about something like talking about like somebody, if you know how to make socks, how to make them so that both of them are the same size. Because I know a lot of people, for me, when I knit or crochet socks, they're always the same size because I'm pretty good about my gauge and I'm pretty even keeled when I'm making socks. It's just something that relaxes me. But I know a lot of people out there will knit one sock and then knit the second sock, or crochet one sock and then crochet the other sock, and one is bigger than the other. Do you want me to teach a class on how to do like crochet socks 2 at a time, or include that information in a class? Would you guys be interested in that? Yes, and the cables too. Okay. Yes, and possibly I want to knit socks. I need to start at it. Well, Debbie, I will definitely be teaching a class on a very vanilla knit sock class on my grandmother's socks. That's how I learned how to knit socks, and that's actually how I learned to crochet socks. So if you are a knitter, you might want to watch for that class. And if you're not a knitter, I am going to teach hopefully a class. I'm not sure when, but a class on learning to knit for crocheters. That is definitely something I do want to do. Okay, so it is almost time for me to sign off here. So before I go any farther, anybody have a question for me that they want to ask? I should mention, I don't know if you guys have noticed, those of you who follow me all the time, watch all the time, do you notice my voice is better today? We discovered that one of the medications I was on for my asthma is causing a lot of dryness, and that's why I was having a hard time getting my voice out. So my doctor switched my medication from an oral medication to a nasal spray that helps with the drainage in my nose. And in 3 days, my voice has come back. So I'm so excited that I can speak properly again and get my voice out more. So I'm really excited. So if you guys don't have any questions for me, I do want to just remind everybody, if you are a current newsletter subscriber and you have not filled out the survey in the last newsletter, please do so by the end of the year. I have so many things on there that are making me rethink what's happening in the future going forward. As you guys know, next year, 2023 is my 25th anniversary as a designer. And that doesn't happen until July of next year. And I have a lot planned for the anniversary that'll start in July probably. I might do a little bit in June just because I will be at an event in June. But I really want to know what you guys would like to see me do going forward for the next 25 years. And while I have my ideas, I need to know what my followers want. So if you are a current subscriber, make sure that you fill out that survey. I have 5 prizes I'm giving away. I haven't told anybody what they are because they are all digital. That way anyone anywhere in the world can win. They don't have to be a US person because of postage. So make sure you fill those out. And I am going to share with you guys, not only in the newsletter, but I'll also share here what the results are of that survey. I am getting some really interesting things. I'm getting some things that like I mentioned before, a lot of people want me to teach outside of the crochet realm. And other than the socks and a how to knit class for crocheters, I'm not doing anything outside of crochet. So I really, really want to focus on that. I'm going to be teaching more classes next year, both live and in person, as well as Zoom classes. So that's going to happen next year because now I can travel again and travel's opening up. In fact, I just pitched classes for my first live event in 3 years? My last live event was February 2020 before the shutdown. And so, yeah, it'll be, if I get accepted to this event, it'll be my first live event I'm teaching at in 3 years. So I did do a live event this last June, but that was just a vendor in a market here locally. But this one I'll be traveling for, and I'm planning to pitch for more classes. So be watching my newsletter for that. But classes seem to be a big thing people want, and more patterns. And oh, I should mention, in my pattern club yesterday, someone asked me if I'm going to be focused solely on shawls. And I want you guys to know that, especially those of you who are in the pattern club, this year's theme was shawls on the side. And that's why all the shawls are done side to side, and they're all shawls, is because that was the theme. Going forward with my patterns, whether they're pattern club or not, I'm not going to do a pattern club anymore. It's going to be more of a different focus with the Crochet Crew. But going forward, my patterns are going to be more of all over the board. In fact, the patterns that are coming out next year, there will still be shawls, but I don't think there's any side-to-side shawls coming out next year. But there's cowls and mitts, and I think I have a hat in there. I have, and then I'm working on a book that's a theme that's not shawls. So just so you guys know, definitely please know that I'm not going to be doing just shawls. Shawls are my favorite thing to design, but I'm going to be doing garments. I'm going to be doing all sorts of things. So for next year's releases, I have 10 patterns already coming out. There's 10 patterns coming out next year for sure. So it's not all about the shawls. Okay. Stephanie says, oh yes, awesome. Oh, that's right. Fiberfest starts tomorrow. Oh, I'm so excited for you. I love that show, and I'm hoping to teach there next year. So definitely put my name in there. And if you meet any other crocheters there, I know, are you part of Crochet Texas, Stephanie? There's a group. Crochet Texas is a guild there in the Dallas, Irving, Fort Worth, that whole area. Make sure you seek them out if you're not. And they all, most of them know me. Jan and I'm trying to think who's in that group. Jan and, oh gosh, I can see her face, but I can't think of her name. There's, I know most of those gals. So, and there's a few guys in there now too. I don't know if I've met any of them, but I think there's more than just the gals. But definitely check them out at Dallas Fort Worth Fiberfest. For those of you guys who've never gone to a live event, if you are ever in the mood to travel at all, to go to an event that's very crochet friendly, Dallas Fort Worth Fiberfest. Even if you have to go from New York to Dallas, I would go. It is one of the events that I cannot not recommend. I have to recommend it whether I'm there or not. I've taught for them twice. They are an amazing organization. And I know most of the people who are on, well, at least I used to, before pre-pandemic, I used to know all the people who are on the board that ran it. And they are amazing people. And I know they people go in and out, but make sure you check out Crochet Texas, Stephanie. Jan Scoggins. And when you check in, you might ask if someone can introduce you to who the Crochet Texas gals are, or people, if there's any representatives there that are looking to meet new crocheters and that kind of thing. So definitely check them out. They are a great group. I've known them for years. Anyway, okay. Well, it's a little after 10, so I am going to sign off. But before I do, I want to make sure we do our giveaway. So I'm going to put this screen here for the giveaway. I got to pull my screen up here. Okay, so I'm going to count down to 5. So if you haven't entered, make sure you type in hashtag pumpkin. I can't talk today. hashtag pumpkin. And I'm going to count backwards from 5, and then I'm going to hit draw. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let's see who our winner is this week. Deborah! Congratulations. Deborah's our winner. I'm so glad you're here. So I believe you have an account on my website. So I will put that in your account. You'll get a notification from my website that the pattern is in your account so that you can download it and work on it if you are going to be working on it. Yay! Congratulations. I'm so excited. You are so welcome, Deborah. So welcome. And everybody's congratulating you. That's awesome. Okay, guys. So, and I'm going to put you on my list right now while I'm thinking about it. Okay. All right. So, guys, I am going to sign off. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing week and weekend. And I will see you next week. I will come up with the topic for next week. Oh, another thing I should mention is everybody seems to really want me to do more interviews with dyers and other crocheters. So I'm going to be working on that for starting in January as well. So if I have some time over the next, and dyers or crocheters have time over the next couple weeks, I will, or not next couple weeks, next few months before the end of the year, I'll try to bring them on. But I just want to let you know that for right now, I'm just either going to do topics or bring your question type things. So I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your week. Blessings to all. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. So I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.